Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jerred Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jerred Moon here with Kyle Shrum, Ashley Hicks, and Joe Courtney. Everyone, welcome.
I like that I get mentioned first most of the time now.
Whoa.
I normally go in whichever order Zoom presents it on my screen. And Kyle, you tend to be an early bird. So
boom.
And sometimes a late bird. It can be either.
There's no in between.
You're not an on-time bird. You're an early or late bird. Mostly early though.
Just a bird.
Just hold his reputation there. Okay, starting with some Garage Gym Athlete shout outs. This is Chris Bennett, one of our athletes. He has a goal of running 1,000 miles this year called 2020 Run. I don't know if he's calling it that or if that's an actual movement. And he said, hopefully complete my first 50-mile ultra and schedule TBD. So yeah, it's not like an actual event, right? But neither is the Murph project. It's more of like something that people are trying to do over an annual time period. And I think running 1,000 miles in a year, I didn't even do the math of how many miles that is per week, but it's more miles than I'll run this year. That's for sure. And so, that's awesome, Chris. Good luck on completing your 1,000 miles.
19.2.
19.2 a week?
Yes. It's not too bad.
I'm trying to think.
That's a bit much.
I was like, what do you mean not too bad?
2.7 miles a day. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of BCT, but BCT we hit like what, maybe max 7 miles in a week. I'm not even running anymore. I'm rowing, but still.
Yeah.
So
that's too much running for me.
I finally loaded my new pair of running shoes on my Garmin app so that anytime I start a run, it automatically calculates my miles. So it tracks how many miles my shoes get.
Do we just jump to updates?
No, this is related. And since March 2nd, so like 3 weeks, I've only gotten 23 and a half miles. So I'm behind his curve.
You know, I really like that feature too, except for I just disagree when the life of a shoe. They think that a shoe should last way longer than I think.
It just depends on how many miles you run.
You can set yours manually. So like, I think they automatically set it at 300. I think I bumped mine to 400 or something, but it'll either way, it'll go by feel.
I'm going to bump mine down to 200.
Question. How does one add a shoe to a Garmin?
You add a shoe to the app, and then every time you log a run, it adds miles to the shoe.
Yeah. So
it'll alert you like, hey, it's time to buy a new pair of shoes.
Yeah. So you add to gear, and then I can automatically assign anytime I start a run, it calculates miles to this gear.
I know, like, if you go to the Brooks Brothers website, they can, like, give you, like, how many miles you should go before you have to replace your shoe as well. Like, an average of, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
All right. This week on the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast, the study we're going over has to do with CBD oil. So the name of the study is The Effects of Cannabidiol. Is that how you say it? I've never actually said the full word.
Go for it.
Yeah. So anyway, the effects of CBD oil on non-invasive measure of muscle damage in men. This was done in 2021. I think this is the first study we've covered that is from this year. We were doing a bunch of 2020 studies. So that's the study. We'll talk about CBD oil. If you're taking it or thinking about taking it, I actually have pretty mixed thoughts on this one, not just on the study. So we can get into that. Topic is dirty jeans. So a book review. And the workout, a new Meet Yourself Saturday called Out and Back. And we'll get into it. All right. First updates. Ashley, how's life?
Life is good. Right now I am preparing for travel and visitors because it's that time of season in Florida. So we're going to have lots of family come this way. And then
The weather gets nice and everyone's like, hey, we're coming to visit.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's fine. We love it. So just preparing for that. And then we ourselves have a lot of travel this year. My sister-in-law is getting married, like I mentioned. So there's going to be lots of like bachelorette weekend. And I know, Joe, you've got some of that coming too. But
my brother.
Bachelorette.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Bachelorette
no,
weekend.
bachelor.
My brother's a bachelorette. Yeah, he'll approve. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and another cool thing, my curling barbell showed up at my doorstep. What? So thanks, Jerred, for that.
Nice.
My
Wow.
husband was more pumped about it than I
I could see that. Yeah.
I'm still waiting on my trap bar. I'm ready to write that one down.
The second I order a trap, I'm just going to order 2 trap bars when I order. I'm like, all right. Well, actually, I'm
it's
still
gonna-
going to make you guess and just see. And maybe I ordered something else before then. Make you question yourself before you guess
Maybe
trap
an
bar.
echo bike.
It'll be harder to fit in the back of my car.
And then the last update for me is just my health. Doing okay. And adding a thyroid medication. So actually taking a little bit of thyroid meds to hopefully allow my thyroid to actually produce the amount of hormone it needs to produce, because right now it's underproducing. So, but doing okay. That's
Awesome.
it for me, Joseph.
So I finally get to reveal my trip that Liz and I are taking. So I hinted at it to the team about a month ago because it's a pretty long trip, and because I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, got to make sure everything's covered. Just to warn, I got to warn everybody, and we got to ease into it.
I want to warn everybody too. Joe's
Jerry
leaving
wasn't
for a
a fan.
while, and
So don't
if you-
email
if
support.
you stop
No idea
getting-
what's gonna happen.
If you stop getting podcasts, you don't know why your feed's not updating. That's it.
Joe's
And
gone.
it's not necessarily his fault. It's I forgot. Like I didn't do something. So
Well, it's funny because the day this comes out is the day that I would be coming back. So really, this is just explaining if anything went wrong in the last 2 weeks because I haven't been there. So
I've been
surprise.
gone.
Yeah. I mean, I did have the solution of Kyle bot for the support, which I think would work out really well.
Hey,
You guys
I'm
remember
there
that?
too.
But Kyle bot, no, it would just be, it's just, because on the website for the chat, like one of our pictures comes up, says, hey, what are you doing? But like Kyle's, it would just
it's
be
not that
just-
nice. It's more like, can we
Yeah.
help you? It's not
Yeah.
like,
Well, yeah.
can I know what you're doing? What
But
is?
but
we
Kyle's
having
would
for
just
dinner?
be
That's
Try
a
harder,
different
touch a little
question.
bit.
You move
Yeah.
those words around. It's completely different. Like let's be real here, okay? How are you doing versus can I know how you're doing? Let's not go there. That's
I've been
not
asked
what
this
I would
question
say.
before.
Oh, this is gonna be a great podcast.
Yeah. And I've been pretty surprised that none of you in the last month, neither of you have asked, like even tried to like figure out where I'm going.
Well, you said
I
you
know
were
where you're
gonna
going
tell
with
us.
Kyle Bot.
No. Oh, Kyle bot. No, that. Oh, I thought we already passed that. No. Yeah. He'll just be on the website saying try harder, suck a little less. So every time you have
Yeah,
a
I knew
question
that
to
too,
support,
yeah.
it's just gonna Kyle bot's just gonna say that.
Like
So,
my email auto reply when you email
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
I
so I'm
should just
gonna-
change it.
yeah. Except I'm never gonna turn it off. Just like your email reply.
By the
But-
way, we on the team get Jared's email reply as well, not just people
Every single
outside.
time.
If you've
forward
ever
that to me.
emailed me,
Son of a bitch.
good luck.
I also have
Right.
his personal email.
We're
so you
ruining
don't have
Joe's
to do
update.
that.
Joe, where are you
don't
going,
care.
man?
No, I don't care. Yeah, finally. So like you guys, I was just surprised that you guys haven't asked.
I thought you were doing a two-week staycation in Bahrain at a fancy hotel. That's,
Yeah, to me, you're already on vacation. So
Yeah.
like, I don't
Oh,
even see
hush.
this as a trip.
I mean, I don't leave the house, but yeah, when we do our staycations, but they still have Wi-Fi. And what I don't think I could go anywhere on this island for 2 weeks and just like be away from home. That would be really hard.
all right, dude. Let's
Okay.
hear it. Wait,
Uh,
can I
so-
guess? Can we guess? And then if we guess it right, you pay for a trip for us to go.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Sure.
Okay, Thailand.
Liz is the final decision, but
I would
I'm guessing
try it.
Thailand.
No, he's going to Europe. I'm gonna say.
It's locked down.
I thought he said he was going to Europe.
It's locked down though.
I mean, every
don't think
country's
so.
different.
Every
It's-
country's
countries.
different.
Can you guess
Ooh,
Europe though? I don't.
Europe
No,
I'm
is
gonna
that's a
say
continent.
no. I'm trying to think of a place.
Asia.
The New World.
I'm
The
gonna.
new-
I don't even know. I don't know.
I It's someplace without Wi-Fi. Like Thailand's probably a good guess.
Thailand's a great guess. It might be wrong, but it's a good guess.
At least it's an actual guess. Neither of you are just like.
I'm trying to
"Oh."
figure it out. Like, I don't know if you guys would want to do like a tour in Turkey or.
I'm not actually going to get a vacation
Israel.
out of it, so I don't really care. I'm not going to.
All right, I don't know. Where are you going?
We're going to Tanzania, and we're going to
I
hike
was so
Kilimanjaro.
close. Same letter.
Yeah, Thailand, Tanzania.
You're gonna hike Kilimanjaro.
You're like a
Yep.
child.
So, first couple
Sounds
days we'll
rude.
do a safari, and then there is a 7-day guided camping hike so we'll be going up the mountain and staying in tents to hike Kilimanjaro. So that is when I'm going to be off the grid for 7 or 8 days. It starts in like a rainforest and it will end in like 19,000 feet at Arctic conditions. So it'll be
Wow.
pretty intense.
White
So
suit.
actually, Joe's the one who could die on his trip.
Yeah,
Yes.
Kilimanjaro's like your chance of dying on a daily basis probably less than 1%, but it probably jumps up to about 5 on your trip. So just be careful.
Yeah.
Well, so
Wipes.
a week ago, Marco actually knew before all of you because I had to ask Marco about elevation stuff and because he did Everest to base camp.
Whoa. I
You
don't
didn't
think I
know
knew
Yeah.
that.
Marco did Everest? It's
Mhm.
okay. We care about the rest. We care about Marco. But
I knew he did.
I knew he did.
Yeah,
I've
He
been
wore his
to
watching
Garage
his
Gym athlete
house.
shirt and sent us a picture at base camp. So
yeah,
Yeah.
that's his athlete of the week shirt. Yeah, so that's a 7-day thing, and then after that, we will end in Zanzibar, which is a tropical island off of Tanzania, for like 3 days. So yeah, that is the trip. So I guess as of publish date when this comes out, I will be on my way back. But if you
hopefully.
You get a legit pack? Because I'm
what?
assuming you're gonna have, if you're doing nothing but like hiking up and staying, aren't you gonna have a pack on your back?
Yeah, we'll backpack. We are with the group, so it's a guided tour thing. So they actually, people will set up our tents and stuff. So I'm not like roughing it that much.
Shoot. Okay.
But it's still like, yeah, we're still hiking the entire thing, and we start at like 5,000 feet and end at 19,000 feet.
Mm-hmm. We did
So there's like,
You will get sick.
yeah, we're trying to avoid that because they kind of acclimate you as you go through.
You
but-
can't.
We'll see how it goes.
I think you can get acclimated to like 10 or 15, 19.
So we spend like 3 days at 13, and then the very last day we like go up really quick, and then like, hey, we're at the peak. All right, cool, let's go down, and then we just go down like
I
4,000
wonder
feet.
if you'll get
So-
hypoxic.
He will.
We'll see what happens.
Mm.
All
Jerred,
right.
you make me feel really good about this.
You're gonna die and get hypoxic.
We're
Yeah.
just making
Rays
Just
of
making plans.
sunshine.
Yeah,
All
we're
right,
gonna
that's my trip.
burning through time on this. This might be a 2-hour podcast.
No.
All right, Kyle, wait, yeah, Kyle.
I'm in no hurry.
I don't even know. I don't even know if I can share my update now. That one was.
You
that
really
one's
wanted to
good.
share it before we started, though.
I
So
know,
I
you
gotta.
said it was a good
I'm
one.
intrigued by it. So
It's really nothing.
Is it new?
Is it because he
It
said
is-
he was going to Tanzania? You're like, I can't come back. From
And yeah, he's hiking Kilimanjaro. Like, okay, that's great. It was really big to do. All right, so here's my attempt to top that. Hannah and I just got an air fryer.
Woohoo!
Yay!
dang, man.
Wow.
I'm
Your
excited
have
for
a-
you.
Worse.
We have
I
a
am
new thing to
excited for
cook
you.
with. We have I don't know, we've got a bunch of friends that have them and have been telling us how good they are. And we go to their house and eat dinner and they made their stuff in the air fryer and it's really good. So we were like, okay, let's get one. And so we like it. It's
You just
Joe
went
should have
high
definitely
pitch.
gone last
yeah, that's just that's my
fault,
life right
sorry.
now. That's my
because
life right now.
any other podcast, I would have thought that was cool. But I
Yeah.
am actually like, man, Kilimanjaro to air fryer is rough.
Man, I just yeah. That's
I'm
it.
excited for you, Kyle.
Thank you. I'm
I mean,
excited
my
about
hike
having
only
it.
lasts 7 days. Yours, the air fryer, lasts a few years.
A lifetime.
Well,
Yeah, that's
a
great.
few years.
I love that.
Could do almond
Yeah.
flour chicken strips in the air fryer for like nothing. I'm excited.
Mm.
New philosophy. A Kilimanjaro hike lasts 7 days, but an air fryer lasts a lifetime.
Oh my gosh.
So I think Kyle actually wins.
I
Yeah,
win.
okay.
Get some. Who needs a Tanzanian vacation now? Jerred,
I gotta reel this in. Let me step up to the plate here. I don't have any real updates, nor would I try after such a ridiculous set of events that just occurred. But Murph burner track is just a big thing I want to announce right now. If you are not familiar, we've talked about it on the webinar, everything else. Just you can get involved at any point in time with the Murph burner track. Just go to garagegymathlete.com. We'll have a place for you to go in the menu. It'll also be an announcement on the website if you are unsure how to join. Again, it's $7, and it is a fundraiser that we're doing for the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. So it's more fun than anything, even if you don't want to do the training, but you'd like to donate. I mean, you could donate just straight on the Special Operation Warrior Foundation website if you want. That's fine too. However you want to do it. Because we do donate profits from our merchandise store, but this is like a good like push to have like a single like big lump sum donation all at once. And I'd like to be doing it on an annual basis. So Murph Burner Track, go check it out. And then also Garage Gym Tours. We're accepting your Garage Gym Tour, and we will, there's also a place for you to do that on garagegymathlete.com. You can submit your video, and we will review it, publish it on our YouTube channel, and you get free stuff. This is really open to just about anyone, so long as it's a good tour. So you could submit your video, and we have instructions on how to do all that stuff, and get a free banner, get a free shirt, whatever merchandise you want from us for your submission. So those are my updates, because I wouldn't dare touch my boring personal life compared to Kilimanjaro right now. So,
or an air fryer,
or an air fryer,
or thyroid meds.
Just an exciting, riveting. All right. So the study I mentioned is on CBD oil. The purpose of the study was to evaluate the effects of CBD oil on recovery from eccentric exercise, with outcomes including perceived soreness, arm circumference, hanging joint angle, isometric peak torque, and RPE. What I think is weird, and maybe I'm already like jumping into things, is like the biggest thing I know about CBD oil is a reduction in inflammation. And they didn't actually measure any reduction in inflammation. So that I find weird. Anyway, the study was completed by 13 untrained men who had not participated in upper body resistance exercise within 6 months of study enrollment. Participants are required to have a BMI under 30, and they were excluded if they were reefers or had any injuries, because they didn't want to have any THC or other CBD in their system. The researchers hypothesized that CBD oil would reduce soreness and inflammation in addition to enhancing performance recovery. And it was a randomized, double-blind study that utilized a crossover design, so subjects served as their own controls. Each participant completed the full study protocol with one randomly assigned treatment, then completed the protocol again with the other treatment after a 2-week waiting period. And conclusion was there wasn't really, CBD oil didn't really help anything. It didn't help anything. And I'm going to throw that asterisk out there as far as arm circumference, hanging joint angle, isometric peak torque, or RPE. So that's what it didn't help specifically. So what did any of you think about the study?
So the reason why I usually sometimes bring out the schedule of studies we're doing, and I picked this one because we've actually had several athletes on like AMAs when we ask people, ask us any questions. A few people have asked us about CBD oil and recovery, so I wanted to at least pick out one study for us to look at, just to bring it up on the table. I know myself, Jerred, VD, and Marco can't even try CBD oil. Not that I've even kind of wanted to, but we just can't if you work for the government. Anyway, I think this is just another, marketing buzzword supplement to get out there without fully proving the extent of any benefits. It's, one of those shiny object syndrome supplements that people are going to slap on things, and I think it's going to do great stuff, but there's not that much research out there to saying that it is beneficial. To me, if CBD oil I would think that it would be more for like mental benefits, like either lessen the stress, maybe even RPE kind of things, to my mind. And apparently, as I was researching some more, it could also have some antioxidant effects. But as far as recovery, like muscle recovery or soreness, as of right now, there doesn't show to have anything. That's what this study kind of measured. I was also this is probably also one of those studies where having untrained athletes, I don't think was very good because they're trying to see how the soreness reduction is. But I think because they were doing eccentric bicep curls or a bicep exercise, which they're gonna these people, if they're not used to it, they're just gonna be super sore, and it's probably gonna be hard to have any of them experience any benefit, in my opinion. But if they were already
Completely agree
somewhat
with you.
yeah,
That was like I hated that part of this because you could take an untrained athlete and have them do ridiculous eccentric training and then load them with 1,200 milligrams of ibuprofen, and they're still going to be sore. Like, and we know ibuprofen works, right? So I just felt like it was overall a poor execution of the study.
yeah, and super small. So that's kind of my main thing about this is just one of those that is just, I guess, the first step into looking at CBD. But Kyle, what do you have?
I think maybe part of what they were doing with that was trained individuals. I mean, I get the type of training they were doing is probably going to make pretty much anybody sore, no matter how long you've been training. But I think they were trying to mitigate that a little bit, where trained individuals are going to be more adapted to muscle soreness and things like that. That's kind of what they were thinking. But I also get the other side of it that you guys are saying is that untrained individuals, they're not really going to have to do a whole lot of training in order to get sore. But the training they did was pretty significant. They did some pretty significant training. So anyway, so I see both sides of it on that right there. I agree that obviously, according to this study, CBD didn't really have any effect on muscle soreness. But I also think it's a little, maybe that's not really what it's for, but also it's a little too early to make a definitive statement on whether CBD is actually beneficial or not. There's just not a lot of literature out there. There's not a lot of studies out there right now on CBD, and especially with the things that we talk about, with the things that we're concerned about. And so I think there are some people out there listening that maybe, are interested in the CBD, maybe already use it for themselves for different things or whatever. So I don't want to take the position that it's absolutely not beneficial or anything. I think it's too early to tell, really make a definitive statement one way or the other. And so to me, it's just this study just kind of says, hey, it didn't work for this thing that we were measuring, but there were also other things like Jerred brought up that they could have measured that they didn't. I also think it seems to be a little bit more psychological, and this is kind of like the whole placebo effect type deal. If you're using something and it feels like it's working for you, then it's having some kind of effect, right? Even if CBD is not actually having any kind of, like, for instance, even if taking the CBD is not actually physically helping your soreness, if it feels like to you that it's helping your soreness, then you're getting a benefit from it. It's having an effect on you. So that's kind of what it seems like to me is. But I think that goes with everything as well. If it feels to you like it's helping you, then it is on some level. So that's just kind of where I fall on it. I have no interest in trying it for myself, especially with this. I think maybe it might have more benefits with things like pain, not like soreness, but like pain relief, like joint pain or something like that, or help with injuries or something like that. It may help out with that, and maybe we can look out for a study on that. But I still really have no interest in using it myself, but I think it's a little too early to make a definitive statement one way or the other, whether it's beneficial overall. Ashley.
So I won't, you guys talked a lot about it, and I kind of agree with the both of you. I would be interested to see how these men slept, is what I want to see. Like, I know a lot of people do CBD to kind of like calm down, or even, I know someone who takes CBD every night. They've got so many things now. There's a group of guys called the Buttery Bros, and they talk about Beam. Have you heard of this stuff? And you put it in your coffee, and it's CBD, and it just like helps you fall asleep and stay asleep, kind of thing. I know my brother personally takes CBD because he suffers with anxiety, and anxiety meds cause him to be sick sometimes. And instead of trying to switch it up, he tried CBD, and CBD actually affected him in a positive way where he can actually calm down from a panic attack kind of thing. So I don't know. I The dosing on this to me was it was 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. I still felt like that was a lot of CBD because if, Jerred, we always take your body weight, for example. So you're 185. So that's like over 500 milligrams of CBD. I don't know what a normal dosing like you could go get at a store is because, again, I have never taken CBD. But yeah, if we looked at it for inflammation, I would be intrigued to see what that would have looked like. But I mean, again, we just don't know because this is not what the study went over. Jerred.
Yeah. So my personal take, I feel like people are either, and it's unfortunate too, people are either kind of like anti-marijuana or pro-marijuana, and then this becomes like a polarizing topic to some degree. And I don't mind revealing my stance here. I'm not anti anything, basically. Like you want to smoke weed and that helps you in some way, smoke weed, especially if it's legal in your state or whatever. But the great thing I think about CBD is there's just a lot of proven benefits from the marijuana plant. There just are. Period. Dot. A lot of research has been done on it. What I think is awesome about CBD is it removes almost all THC, which is the psychoactive compound that, like, if you wanted a reduction in inflammation or better sleep or reduced anxiety, and whatever, let's just say 15 years ago when CBD oil wasn't popular at all and probably barely produced, you could have an illegal drug, or nothing at all, right? Or you could have it like medically prescribed or something like that. And now that CBD is out there, you can get it almost anywhere these days. You can order it online. Like it's legalized everywhere, and because it has no THC, so there's no psychoactive compound. There's nothing that's going to make you feel differently mentally. It'd be like if you could drink a glass of wine. I mean, you can do this. That's basically called coffee, but like, and get all the antioxidant benefits without the alcohol affecting you, right? And that's why I really like CBD, because I have friends with PTSD. I have friends with pain, and I have people like in some very serious issues. So my outlook on people smoking marijuana or taking CBD oil, I'm all for it if it helps you, whether it's actually helping you or you think it's helping you. So most of the things that I know about CBD oil are related around anxiety and inflammation. And so I think it helps a lot with, like you guys are saying, that mental side of a reduction in anxiety and depression and all these terrible like mental states that human beings can get into. And I don't know, have not looked at the science on inflammation, but that's what I've heard it to be helpful with. Like that's why it can help a reduction in pain, like in cancer patients, is this reduction in inflammation. So I was a little bummed when we got into the study and they didn't measure a single inflammation marker. They're just asking people if they're sore. I think it's kind of silly. But I don't think that this is even CBD's place. I do think that it's worked its way into the athletic world somehow, and I don't really know if it should be there. I think it Killcliff that has Killcliff CBD or whatever. Like that's a joke, guys. Come on, like that it's just a joke. And there's nothing wrong with CBD oil, but they're probably putting this tiny bit of CBD oil in a can. Like it'd be easier to just go buy some CBD gummies or get some oil or whatever if you want to take CBD oil. So I think things like that are a little gimmicky and ridiculous. But from here, it doesn't seem that it even helps with a reduction in soreness. I'm not going to say it doesn't work. I'm just going to say it doesn't help with a reduction in soreness in untrained athletes. I'm going to stick to exactly what the conclusion was of this study. But there are a lot of other benefits for CBD oil. And it seems like on this podcast alone, we have Ashley and I just know people who have taken it and seen a lot of great results from it. So I definitely don't want to sit here and say anything bad about it, just from personal experience. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be that great in the athletic training world. Maybe for a garage gym athlete, if you're taking it because you don't want to be sore. Never in my life have I, like from day one of working out to now, have I thought that I need to take any sort of medication to relieve muscle soreness or anything at all. Like I've never been and I've been really freaking sore. I'm talking like abs so sore I can't get out of bed type stuff. And I've never thought, you know what? I need a drug or something to mitigate this muscle soreness. Like it's just muscle soreness. It's not that big of a deal. But if you're in some sort of serious pain, maybe go with some CBD oil. Maybe it'll help you out. I'm not sure, but you can try it out yourself. So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I think if I ever get like super sore from anything, my first thoughts are usually I didn't eat enough recently, or I haven't done this exercise enough recently because I'm just too sore from it. Nothing's gonna fix that though.
Right. And if you take like the inflammatory response from exercise is a good thing. Like that's part of it. So if you get really sore and you are, let's just go back to ibuprofen, you're taking ibuprofen, and you're reducing that soreness, that's a bad thing. It's the same reason why you don't want too many antioxidants in your diet, because specifically with endurance exercise, too many antioxidants can work in the opposite effect, and you won't see as many results as you should have from endurance exercise if you take too many or you have too many antioxidants in your diet. And it's similar with this inflammation. Like if you're really sore to where you can't function at your job, maybe, but other than that, just deal with it. Just soreness.
Yeah.
It's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
It comes with training.
I know. Yeah. Kyle and I love being sore.
Doms.
Just Kyle and you? Lord.
Well, I've never asked the other two of you, but you've never chimed in when we said that we liked it. So I'm just
That's
assuming
true.
you both don't like it.
I was letting you have your bromance, all right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I like DOMs too. The only time I've ever had some so bad was after my first time I ever did Murph. And I did it with it was CrossFit, and I did it with a band, the kipping pull-ups. And my underneath my armpit, like this muscle here swole up so bad. Talk about inflammation. Like it was awful. I couldn't even like lift my arms more than this. But other than that, I like DOMs unless it's like something crazy like that. Shall we get into the book review?
Yeah. So we're talking about Dirty Genes, a book by Dr. Ben Lynch. I think I have that right. Yes,
Correct.
I do. And he's talking about basically epigenetics, right? So this is a relatively new field. I did write about it a little bit in my book, Killing Comfort. I talk about your ability to change your genes. I think epigenetics is a really cool field of study. And there's not a ton of information out there because this is all relatively new. And I kind of unpack that in my book about how the Human Genome Project, led to all these different advances. Like all this stuff is relatively new. Might already feel commonplace for some people, like 23andMe or whatever. You send off some spit and you can get this full genetic profile back. So it's really cool how quickly we're advancing in this field of study. But I don't think it's really hit the medical field that much to a point where it's going to be useful or beneficial like everywhere. You kind of have to find an expert, right? You kind of have to find like a Ben Lynch or somebody who's into that stuff. And even then it gets like, how well do you really know this? This is like a brand new study. You haven't been studying it for 40 years because that's impossible. Like it's not even been around that long. So there's a lot to unpack here. I'd like to hear everyone else's opinion, but I would say that his book is if I had to just sum it up myself, as a crash course on epigenetics and things you can do to express your genes in better ways. But I do have some, as always, pros and cons to this book. So I can get into those, but I'd love to hear your thoughts first.
So the book is basically broken down into 3 parts. He talks about can you control your genes, which, dives into, the difference between genetics and epigenetics. Meet your dirty genes. So he like lists out every single gene that could be potentially dirty. And then he gives you a clean gene protocol. So I really love this book because I actually tested for a dirty gene. Again, Jerred just talked about finding a professional who uses this kind of stuff to help you. And a functional medicine doctor is a great example of this. My functional medicine doctor, when I did my first panel of blood, she tested me for 3 of the genes, and 1 came back positive, and mine was MTHFR, which he calls it helps with methylation, right? So what I loved about it was he basically shared stories of people who had each of these genes and what that were dirty, and then what that looked like. But then his overall take was you could not have an actual dirty gene, like test positive for it, but you could be dirtying it up with your lifestyle. So I love the fact that he talked about clean up your diet, clean up your lifestyle. Here is where you should start. And I think a lot of people should start nutritionally. I don't think a lot of people should just dive in and buy supplements and do all of this. I think if you clean it up with the diet, that can be huge for most people. But then where it gets sticky for me is, a lot of stuff that he's recommending. There's some things that people have to avoid, like cruciferous vegetables, if you have some sort of iodine issue or anything like that. So that's where I'm like, I really love the professional side of it, like the functional medicine side. I found it interesting that MTHFR has kind of an anger issue. I wouldn't say that I'm an angry person, but I can get spun up really quickly. And so it was really funny that he lists like all these, like what you could potentially have if you have a dirty MTHFR. And I was like, yes, I have that. Yes, I have that. Holy cow. Yes, I have that. So I think it would be good for anyone to read this book. Take that. He has it in his book as well. If you get the audiobook, you can download the PDF. It's like an addendum that basically allows you to take a test to see like if you have any of these issues. And maybe start with diet. And then if you see that the diet didn't help you out, then that's where I would potentially seek further help.
Just one note on that. I thought was funny about the audiobook version is towards the beginning, there must be a table in the book and he just skips it. And he's like, if you had any of those symptoms, and I was like, you didn't read the table. And there wasn't like, he didn't say, if, you can go download this thing, you have to like figure that out later. But like, I thought that was really funny because it's like end paragraph starts next paragraph. He's like, all right, so if any of that was you, I'm like, if what was me?
If what was me?
Yeah. So that's just like a more technical critique of the book, but it only happened that one time that I can remember. So.
Yeah. Kyle.
Oh, good. I get to go. I feel like Jerred and Joe are going to have a lot to say about this, and I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. So, I enjoyed the book, but man, for me, it was a bit of a slog trying to get through all the technical jargon of it. Even with reading a lot of the stuff that we read, a lot of the studies we read and all that kind of stuff, there was a lot of technical jargon in it. And so I just beware of that. If you pick this one up, there's a lot of technical scientific jargon in there. That's, at least for me, it was kind of hard I had to take pauses. Normally I don't have to pause a book, like, especially listening to it. I can just listen to the whole thing. I retain what I need to retain and move on. This one, I was having like, okay, I need to stop for a minute. And what did this guy just say? Let's think about this for a minute. It was really helpful though, as Ashley said, the PDF that comes with the audiobook, going through that and kind of seeing it in written form and kind of seeing the tables and seeing the questions that he's talking about and all those. Okay, this makes a little bit more sense. So I get it. But to me, the basic premise of the book is if you're having issues, your genes could be causing those issues. And basically the fix is nutrition. And I was just like, yeah, right on. I'm all about that. That's absolutely what I think. And I agree with Ashley as well. If you pick up this book and you find some things that are going on and you kind of narrow it down to certain things, start with just kind of changing your diet, which is what he says too. Like the first thing that he says is like, you need to, here are some things that you can eat, things to add to your diet, things to potentially avoid in your diet that are going to help you with this, and then kind of moving on to supplementation and things like that. But I would also say when it comes to this, just be patient, because it's going to take a while. This is not going to be a quick fix type deal, which we're not really about quick fixes around here anyway. This is not going to be a quick fix type deal where this is exactly what's wrong with me. This is how I fix it. Next week, I'm going to be good. I feel like it's really going to take you some time to kind of narrow in on what your issue actually is. And then it's going to take some time to implement the proper process to get you out of it and get you cleaned up, especially if your genes have been, your lifestyle or just the way that you were born, your genes are expressing themselves this way. It's going to take some time to reverse that. And so that's just be patient with it. And like Ashley said as well, I'll also agree. Maybe you'll need to find a professional to help you out with this. It may not be something that you can just fix on your own. I think this is a good primer of, hey, it's a good primer on what the potential issue could be and what some potential solutions could be. But I feel like having somebody to walk you through it and help you through it and give you advice as well is also going to help. So that's what I took away from it. I think it's a good book. I enjoyed it. It was pretty technical, but I think the overall premise, it really just kind of reinforces everything that we talk about of really trying to stay away from processed food, eating whole foods, and using nutrition to heal yourself.
I will say too, Kyle, I like what you talk about. Like it might take a little bit. Like if you are eating poorly and then you start and you cut those things out, you will go through a detoxification process. Like, even when I did an elimination diet and I eat pretty clean most of the time, I had to go through a detoxification process. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means that potentially your body is getting rid of all that stuff. And I also liked too, he talked about toxins, like ways of getting rid of that. He talked about sauna usage. Jerred loves his sauna. He talked about Epsom salt baths. He talked about how to avoid unnecessary toxins that are in day-to-day life as well, which was pretty cool. Like receipts. Don't get a receipt. Everything's online these days. Like just tell your cashier, no, thank you. Or nowadays, everything is like, can you email me my receipt versus print my receipt, which is kind of cool.
Put your hand in your shirt, like reach with your shirt.
Don't touch me.
Wear gloves everywhere. Just put some gloves on.
I mean, in the time of Corona, didn't they do that?
Yeah, it's COVID. Nobody hands you anything anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
Joe?
So I definitely had some positives and negatives with the book. I think this isn't a book that you start with by any means. I think this is like a step 3 or 4 after you've, done all the other books and things that we've already suggested. Cleaned up your diet, gotten your sleep in order, done some nasal breathing, whatever, everything that we said. His Clean Genes protocol is good, but it's once again basically everything that we already say in the EO3 elements and eating clean and doing all of these things, all of these steps, because most of the time, if you're having issues, it's probably a lot of those things are going to clear up. And if you're not clearing up, if you still have issues and you need to seek other help, then maybe it is a genes thing and you might need to dive into something like this. So in that regard, it is great if you have some more serious issues that you're just, things aren't getting cleared up just from, being super healthy and super conscious about stuff, and you need to take another step. But there's a lot to unpack with this, and you could easily get lost going through this and be overwhelmed. And I think you could even get a little bit of the WebMD effect, to where you Google your symptoms and you're like, oh, WebMD says I got cancer. When you go through all of these genes, he's going to say, this gene causes this, this gene causes this. And you're gonna be like, I have all of that. I have all of that. This is me. All of my genes are dirty. So I think it's going to be really hard to get lost in a lot of these things, but it could also be really beneficial if you actually have some of these issues. It's also one of those books where, a lot of the best books that I recommend and like are the ones that you can take this book and you can implement and you can be good to go and make such a difference. And this book, it's like, read this, start here, and then when you're done, come back and then we'll go to the next step. This is like step 1 of, okay, after you already cleaned this up, then you have to have a gene test. You have to meet with somebody. You have to figure out what supplements to take from there. It's like just getting your toes in the water. But as I said, if you actually have issues that need clearing up and, deeper problems, it could be well worth it. So yeah, I know Ashley, you've been doing all kinds of tests, but you've already been eating clean and doing all kinds of good stuff even way before that. So this isn't like you start with this book and go, hey, I need a gene test. I need all these supplements. I need all these things because I got some dirty genes.
Hey, I'm angry. I got an MTH of fun.
Yeah. Ashley needs to get less angry. She needs to clean those genes, whatever that is. So I think that is really important. I feel like I had one last thing. I just can't remember what the hell it was.
I'm trying to look at your notes for you.
Yeah. I'll just let Jerred go until I think of what I was going to say next.
He's going to pop in randomly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just start talking.
Don't interrupt my flow here. Okay, I really agree with everyone has said. I'll start by saying I think Ashley is a great example of the process when it comes to health problems because, and hopefully you don't mind, Ashley. I mean, you've shared everything anyway, but like she started down this path. She knew something wasn't right, and her immediate reaction was not, I'm going to go get a gene test and see if I have a SNP that's going to be a problem. It was, okay, I'm going to double down on nutrition. Okay, I'm going to make sure stress is in check, and like all these things, one after another. And now we're here. Now we're here after a very long process. And I feel like Joe said, like that's the process that you have to go through when you are headed down this path. And so my actual advice for anybody in this field or doing this stuff is don't start in epigenetics. Okay. Like, cause you will. And these are my critiques of his book. One, he has way too many calls to action for his program in the book. Look, I sell things too. I've written books. That was ridiculous. It was like every other paragraph. So I am going to give a mark on him there. That was absurd. You should just present a bunch of information. And at the end of your book, I think you're awesome. Present it, not every other paragraph. That was a bit ridiculous. But he does have a lot of great information. He is an expert in this field. So he can do what he wants. It's just a personal view of how I think an author should present themselves. But you need to eat healthy, fruits, vegetables, protein, filter your water, filter your air, reduce stress, focus on sleep. If you have all those things dialed in for a year and then you still have some mysterious health problem that's not resolving itself, maybe work with a functional med doc and have them do this. Don't do it on yourself either. Because it's like building a rocket in your backyard and you're just going to Google rocket science, right? You're like, you know what? There's enough YouTube videos about rocket science out there. I think I can build a shuttle to the moon. Let's do it. That's how I feel about epigenetics. You can screw up so many things if you're just like, yeah, so I had this SNP on my 23andMe test, so I'm going to go buy this supplement and this dosing, but you have no idea the cascade of effects that could have on other things. I really do think bodies take care of themselves. So if you do all these other things, and he even mentioned it, like if you do all these other things for a long period of time, your genes should kind of clean up themselves, right? And handle it. And I hope that's the case for most people. So if you have no mysterious health problems right now, you could probably avoid this book altogether in epigenetics in general. But if you do have something and you feel like everything else is dialed in, this might be a good place. So there could be a few people listening who are like, no, I'm in that place. Like I feel like I do everything right and I'm still having a problem. Then great, this is an opportunity for you. But otherwise it's not, because I think that there's this like, it's like an unseen side of the health and fitness world that I think can happen to people is you learn too much. Rob Wolf has talked about this with people he's worked with on the paleo diet. It becomes this obsessive compulsive, I'm allergic to kale. Like, and like this, you go down these like rabbit holes because you've done too much research and you've done like, you're diving into too many things. So I think this one can push you overboard. So clean up your lifestyle. Then you go down this path. And the other problem I had with it, I think he was letting too many people off by their genes. And this is kind of my point in the Killing Comfort book. Look, we could have a SNP or whatever that causes us some sort of reaction, talking about anger or whatever. But like he brought up some example, and this is the one that frustrated me the most, where this guy was like, basically, I'm a complete asshole to my kids. And he was like, well, it's because you got a SNP and we're going to fix it. And I'm like, I think that no doubt that person has that SNP, but I guarantee it's within his conscious control to not be an asshole to his kids. I don't care what kind of genetic problem you have. So I think it's a slippery slope. It's like this amazing technology. Like you could fix so many crazy health problems that we didn't even know you could fix in the past. That's awesome. But at the same time, you can't let it be a crutch. This is what I think happens with genes. Some people have, like, they're overweight or their parents had something or whatever. And so they have this crutch of like, well, I'm just this way because my genes are this way. And I don't want epigenetics to do that same thing where you're like, sorry, I'm mean to you all the time. I have this SNP. I actually have a card if you want to see, like, I've been tested for it. I'm just an asshole all the time. It's a snip. I can't do anything about it. But that's the direction our world's headed, right? Like, you can't discriminate about anybody for anything. And trust me, I'm not pro discrimination. I'm saying, but there shouldn't be an excuse for everything. You're like, you can't get fired at your job for being an asshole because you've been genetically tested to have a snip that says it's okay to be an asshole. Like, I just don't think that's an okay thing. So I think it's a slippery slope with these things. At the same time, though, if you do, like, I read some of those things and I was like, oh, for one, I'm not going to get tested. I'm not going down this field. As of right now, I have no mysterious health problems. If I do, maybe I'll go down. I think it would stress me out more to get all these tests and be like, oh crap, I have that, and that. Like, I don't want to go down that path right now. Maybe I will later, but I think it would cause me more stress than it's worth. So I'm staying away from it. But at the same time, if you do have a snip, I'm not saying that that's a false thing. Like, if you have this snip that, like, gives you a short temper or makes it to where you can't think clearly or focus or whatever, you need to go fix those things. It's not a crutch. It's not a permanent, I'm allowed to be this way because I have a gene that makes me this way. No, you've identified the problem. Now you have to go fix it. So I think that this is a great place to get into epigenetics if it is necessary. But if you are otherwise healthy, following the EO3 elements, and you're feeling good, maybe avoid going down the testing. But I know I have a friend who's was tested. They just randomly did a 23andMe. Their whole family decided to do it, and he found out he had it's that one where your body stores copper. I think it's Wilson's disease or something like that.
Oh,
like your body can't get rid itself of copper, and he just thought he was getting older, like getting close to 60, and was just having regular problems. But he was like, once he got checked out, the doctors were like, yeah, you were like a year or two away from being dead, basically.
wow.
And he's been able to reverse a lot of that and like go on all the protocols needed. And forgive me if I'm quoting the wrong disease. I think it's called Wilson's disease, but it's the one where your body can't rid itself of copper. Anyway, so there are amazing things that have come out of this, right? And so, like, getting randomly tested could be helpful as well. But I just think that it can go both ways when you're talking about genes.
Yeah. So the last thing that I had was that actually I did like that he did, even though he listed off all of these things, all of these issues, if you have these things, and then he would say, like, if you have this SNP and these issues, then there are some over the counter, supplements and things that you can introduce. And it's like he lists off the supplements that you could have. And I like that he finished it off with, now don't go out and get these supplements, start taking them, because if you take these supplements, you can also have these bad effects if you don't actually need them. So find out if you need them first. But then if you find out you need them, then you can actually introduce them and then slowly take them away. So I liked how he did that. So it wasn't like, because people nowadays are, oh, I have this issue, I'm just going to go take a pill now and it'll just fix it. But he actually had a caveat, an asterisk of, hey, no, don't do this. I'm just saying that if you have this issue, it's not the end of the world. We can treat it and then wean you off of it, and then you'll get better from it. But don't go out and get this right now.
Yeah,
So
don't DIY epigenetics. It sounds ridiculous, but like that's what if you are going to go down this path, you have to know as well that it's expensive. I've done some of this with Emily. She's been through like nutrition coaching and stuff where they tested stuff and she has to get on certain supplements, and luckily she's all good now, but it was really expensive, and that's fine because I prioritize health over anything else. And so I'm okay with our money going there, but it's just I would never take a genetic test and be like, I got this. Give me some B12, make sure it's methylated, and I'm good to go. Like, you got to work with a professional on these things. But he did, I would say, a good enough job. I would even say he could have done a little bit better job on, I'll give him like an 80 on saying diet, lifestyle, sleep, stress, water, air, like focus on all those things. He gives us a disclaimer, but I feel like he should have even been disclaiming it throughout the rest of the book even more, because I just think that when you get into health space, you can get into like scaring people. Right. And I don't want anybody to go there, but good book if you need it. Workout of the day, of the week.
Another new guy.
So we got new Meet Yourself Saturday. Not new for BCT track. We've probably done it 2 or 3 times. It is, well, I added Well, Kyle added. So anyway,
No.
well, the workout is called Out and Back, and it's fairly straightforward. You will run. You really need to run. You need to run. The only other thing you can do, I guess, is bike. Yeah, you can't. I don't want you rowing because it takes away the pleasantries of this workout.
Yeah.
So anyway, you're gonna go out for 40 minutes within the heart rate zone of zone 2. So run away from your house for 40 minutes at zone 2. Once that 40 minutes clicks, you need to turn around and start heading home. And you're going to see if you can get home in 20 minutes at zone 4 or greater. So you need to immediately go from zone 2, turn around, get into zone 4, and see if you can get home in half as much time, but a much higher heart rate. So the goal is to make it back. If you fail to make it back home, your reward is 100 burpees. Kyle added this on. He thought 100 burpees would be best over what I thought. So do we need to say anything else?
That's not really getting added.
We all get to give tips, right?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, do I need to brief anything else about the workout or
no? We're good.
The fact that you added 100 burpees to it or anything?
We're good.
Okay. Got it.
Who gets to give their tips first?
Go, Kyle. You've done it.
You're
the only one who's done it.
Actually done it.
Yeah. So I have done it.
Have you completed it?
Incredibly tough. I looked back at it and no, I didn't complete it. I haven't. It's very tough to do.
I got within a few streets of my house, but
I got close, but I didn't make it back. Also on BCT, we didn't have the burpees. Now, so before I do tips, okay, let me clear something up here. Right. And I'm going to pull a Kyle. You guys talk about how I give away stuff behind the scenes. I don't care because this one needs to get out there. This is what I need to say. Okay. People in the community, you guys know me. All right. You know me. I've been around for a while. You know that burpees are not my thing. So I want you guys to ask yourselves, of the 4 of us on this podcast right now, which one of us would be the least likely to add burpees to any workout for any reason? And which one of us would be the most likely to add burpees to any workout for any reason? Okay.
It wasn't me.
out of the 4 of us. And so just ask yourself that question as to where the burpees actually came from. Okay.
They know
because it wasn't me. All right. It was not me.
But would you disagree with the statement that you are the reason it is 100 burpees?
That's true.
So
see, I'd make a great lawyer.
You would.
The original. See, what I actually said was because the unbelievable suggestion of 1,000 burpees was thrown out there.
All right, cat's out
originally.
Of the bag.
Okay, of 1,000 burpees was thrown out there.
So really,
and I said,
saved you from 900 burpees.
If we're gonna do burpees at the end, why not cap it at 100? And so maybe that was the guilty party's original intent was let's throw out a crazy number and then see what I can actually get it down to. And maybe I just didn't go low enough.
My real plan was to make it 1,000 burpees at the end with a 15-minute time cap. Meaning it's impossible to do. So it's not actually prescribing anyone 1,000 burpees. It's just 15 minutes of burpees, which is still horrible.
It sucks.
But anyway,
meaning
okay,
I'm
so
only
that's the
going to get
workout.
100 burpees out of it anyway. So
what are your tips, Kyle? Someone who has done the workout, attempted the workout, has not completed it as a finish, but
my biggest tip is just get your mind ready for this one, because you're throwing, we know all the zone 2 work, especially with the zone 2 Murph, everybody hates the zone 2 Murph. Even Jerred hates the zone 2 Murph just because of the mental strain of I need to go faster. I want to go faster. And you get out to a point and you're in this zone, you're in this rhythm of zone 2, and you've been doing it for a long time. Then you have to turn around and you have to kick it up a notch on the way back. And so this is going to be a mental burner, and it's going to burn everything else as well. But this one's going to be a mental burner of you're going to be in this rhythm of zone 2, and then you have to turn around and you have to zip back really fast. And so just get your mind ready for this one. Warm up for it as well. Don't go into this one cold. Don't be like, okay, it's zone 2, not a big deal. I don't have to do a whole lot of warm up. No, you need to warm up, because at the end of this, the last thing you need on the way back, especially if you're probably not going to make it all the way back the first time, and you're probably going to have burpees at the end of it now. So the last thing you need on top of everything is a pulled hammy. So like, make sure that you're warming everything up and you're good to go. As far as music, y'all know me. I just do my workout playlist. There's a lot of Metallica on there. You're probably going to be angry, so maybe some angry music. Throwing in some angry music on that. Anyway, don't get lost. Don't get hit by anything. Don't pull a hammy. And apparently now you have to do burpees. We didn't have to do burpees on the BCT version.
So we're already doing enough on BCT. So
this is thrown in there now. So anyway, Joe, I'm going to pick Joe this time.
So my tip is on the zone 2 portion. Just go for a walk and breathe in and out of a paper bag. Your heart rate will get right up and you're not going to get very far. Hack that. No.
You do have to kind of be strategic about your zone 2 and zone 4. Yep. That's my only tip.
Well, I was going to take what you said the other day when we were off air, just talking about the workout. Stay at the very bottom of zone 2.
Yeah.
And then when it, like right at your 60%, and then right when that 40-minute mark hits, turn around and go and hope. I feel like this is going to be a mentally zone 2 Murph situation, to where you might start off going, yeah, I think at the pace I'm at, I think I'll be fine. And then when you get to the end, you get capped and you're just like end in sight. You're just I'd just be so pissed if you're like on your street, like 100, 200 meters, 300, whatever away. And you're just like, no fucking way. Are you kidding me?
What's great is if you're a mile away, you still have to get home. That's my favorite part about it.
I just walk.
Because you just
even
ran
if you don't make it all the way back.
It doesn't matter. You just ran for 60 minutes. You can either do your burpees right there and then go home. Either way, you still got to get home. That's why I think that you shouldn't do it on a rower or a treadmill or anything.
Yeah. God, I'm just trying to think of how I'm mentally trying to think of what I would run at a low zone 2. And then what would I have to run on the way back?
I will say programming all the zone 2 that we have is a disservice to our athletes for this workout. Because if you were brand new and you never do zone 2 work, you might be able to knock this out of the park. You might just be like, because when you first start zone 2, you suck at it. Like you're like,
yep,
wow, walking is zone 2. And then you get better and you can run, and then you can run at a certain pace, and like you get better and better. So our athletes who've been around for a while, I'm sorry, And, but for anybody who's new to this stuff, it might be really easy. You might just go for a walk. You'll be in zone 2, and then you get to turn around and run as fast as you can back home. It might be super easy, but for anybody who's fairly trained in zone 2, yeah, you're going to get pretty far, unfortunately, in 40 minutes, and then it may be impossible to get back in 20 minutes at zone 4.
Yeah. Pretty sure it's going to be close to a 5K. Just shy of right around 3 miles, I think.
At 40 minutes or the 60 minutes?
40.
Got it.
But I guess staying at the low end.
You're saying you're going to get a 5K in 40 minutes, and then you have to run another 5K back in 20
yeah,
minutes.
I think I almost think like in 40 minutes it'll be close to 3 miles, because the loop at my on like where I live, there's a loop, and that loop that I do is almost exactly a 5K. And when I did previous zone 2, when it was just not math zone 2, it would be like 42, 43 minutes I would do it in. Now I guess staying at the low part might bring that down to just under 3 miles, but yeah.
And if you don't make it back for that next 5K in 20 minutes, you got 100 burpees.
Yeah, I'm just running 2 loops.
Really focusing on those burpees.
I'm trying to highlight the fact that
we didn't need those.
No, we don't. We don't need them.
And that happened like right before we recorded. So
yeah, I get on here ready to brief this thing because I've done it before, and treachery, like my worst nightmare.
But did you meet yourself when you just did the workout without the burpees?
Yeah, because I didn't make it back,
okay.
And I was like, man, I felt bad because I didn't make it back.
Oh.
All right, Ashley, Joe's supposed to pick you, but
I'm gonna elimination.
Just bypassing here.
Anything else to add to what you guys said? So
what do you listen to?
So I just said I would listen to a podcast on the way out just to keep my heart rate in zone 2, and then listen to EDM to keep the heart rate up for zone. Well, yeah, zone 4 on the way back. Do you have? Never mind. I'm not going to even make him make this worse. Jerred.
It's already done. It's already
No
done.
more suggestions.
I know. I was like,
No more questions.
You said zone 4, but like, what if? Is there a penalty if you hit zone 5? Or
No,
is
no,
it
it's zone 4 or
above?
greater.
Yeah,
Oh,
zone 4
okay.
up.
Okay.
I mean, I would be careful with zone 5.
Oh, for sure. Okay,
Like,
Jerred.
I'm just saying you could go there, but like 20 minutes in zone 5, you might be dead. I don't know. I've never spent. That's a lie. I've definitely spent 20 or 30 minutes in zone 5. It's called Murph PR, and it was awful. But I have a screenshot of that because I thought it was so funny. I spent like the first 40 seconds of my fastest Murph ever. When I was wearing my Apple Watch. My fastest Murph ever is like the first part of the run, just like getting down my street was in like zone 1, zone 2. You know, then I got into like zone 4, and then I got into zone 5, and like stayed in zone 5 for that mile, all my calisthenics, and the last mile, and it was death. So it's possible, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Hey, if you die, you don't have to do burpees.
There you go. My recommendations for this one, you obviously need a heart rate monitor. I would stay away from MAF. I know we throw around some MAF. That's more for training. I really wouldn't do it with this one because it's just not going to be. The MAF zones are just hard. You could accomplish a lot more. I know for Joe and I specifically, our MAFs are quite a bit higher than our regular zone 2, and a lot more. I can get a lot further in a MAF zone 2 than I can a regular zone 2. So I would go regular zone 2, stay at the bottom, even to where you're going so slow that you're fluctuating between dropping into zone 1 and having to like speed up a little bit to get into zone 2. So that's what I would do. I don't normally game these things, right? And I don't tell people to game them either, but I'm telling you to game this one because 20 minutes in zone 4 is punishment enough. So do that. Game your zone 2 as much as possible. Don't do MAF. And then on zone 4, it's really, it might even take you a little bit to get into zone 4. But don't. I made this mistake. I honestly think we've done it 3 or 4 times. The first time I did it, I could not get into zone 4 so quickly enough, and so I just sprinted as fast as I could, and so I was going like, whatever, like a 4:30 mile pace sprint, because that's still not even like an incredibly fast sprint. It's just really fast, right? And it only took for like 30 to 60 seconds. And then I did get into zone 4, but you're pretty tired after that. And then you have to run like 18 more minutes, 19 more minutes in zone 4. So don't do that. Just what I would do is my last 2 minutes of your zone 2, creep that up to higher into zone 2. So start running a little bit faster to where you're still in zone 2, but you're at the very threshold of zone 2, zone 3, the last 2 minutes. And then when it's time to click over, pick a very, like, I don't know, whatever your mile time is, like your PR mile time, probably 20% above that ish. Pick that pace and just stay there, and your heart rate will go to zone 4, and then it'll kind of get locked. I can get surprisingly comfortable in zone 4 now after a lot of BCT training. Like I can run in zone 4 for 20 to 30 minutes without much of an issue. But actually getting back is still really hard because it's half as much time. So those are all my tips. So very, very strategic for me on this one, having tried it multiple times, on where your heart rate should be, at what points, and everything. So those are all my tips for out and back.
So hold on. If for the zone 2 out, wouldn't the goal just be turn around and set whatever pace you need to come back? I guess if you're in zone 4, then that is the goal, but the pace you should be setting should be a hard pace. But like for me, if I just turn around and run back, I probably won't hit zone 4 for at least a solid minute or so.
Yeah. Did I say something different?
Well, you said to start
That's what he
raising
was
your,
talking about.
you said to raise your heart rate before you turn around, but really the pace should just be set at.
No, because we're
He said
saying
the top end of zone 2. Keep it.
Yeah, you don't want to
keep it in
waste
zone 2.
Yeah, you don't want to waste a full minute of, or even 2 minutes of your zone 4 getting there. You know what I mean? Like you want to already be creeping up to there. So, because I'm talking about not from like a a mileage standpoint. I'm talking about from like a physiological, how you're going to feel standpoint of getting to zone 4, because going to zone 4 from zone 2 can be a crappy process. Like I was saying, like with sprinting, like trying to get there. And I think that you just want to try and get there as easily as possible, that way, you know what your zone 4 pace is going to be. Because if you do that burnout section to try and get there quickly, like who are we kidding, Joe? For you, it'd take you 6 minutes to get into zone 4 from zone 2. Like, but if you had already gotten to high zone 2 and then you pushed yourself to a certain pace and you're like, I'm not going to go faster than this, you might get to zone 4 within like 2 minutes as opposed to 6 minutes.
It also means at the very end, you're running faster away from home. That's
true.
That's what I was.
That he went even deeper on the strategy.
Yeah,
but I don't think. I mean, 60 to 120 seconds in zone 2, even upper end zone 2, is going to cost you maybe a couple 100 meters. That could be the failure point, though, too. What do I know? I haven't even done it yet. Once I can run again, though, I'm going to do it. I think I got it. I got this one mastered.
Guys,
in my brain, at least.
I'll actually do this one.
There
and you
go.
can do it on a rower. You can do it on a treadmill. It's not like it's impossible. I said that at the beginning. Like obviously you're just tracking distance, right? And you're trying to match that distance in shorter amount of time. But it's just different when you have to walk home after you failed.
Would you? This is just completely, down the road. If you had fun with it, would you do this as a weighted carry?
What? No.
What?
I think zone 4 is dangerous enough.
I think it's hard to stay zone 2 with a weighted carry. You'd have to like stop and set it down.
I mean, weighted carries are my thing, man. But like, no.
Like a sandbag?
I'm not,
a sandbag for this?
I'm not throwing that in there for this. Especially
but
now
I mean,
you're
you're not going to get very far.
Oh, yeah. And competitors wear a vest. I'm just kidding. I love how on Plank You Tyler, Joe was like, and apparently Jerred wants competitors to wear vests.
That was just like, I don't know. That was never anything that we talked about. I just see the write-up and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
I don't add these things last minute. I write them down in my notes. I just don't think I share them. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. We have a lot of stuff going on at Garage Gym Athlete right now, from being able to submit your own garage gym and get free stuff, the Murph Burner Track fundraiser, not to mention the amazing community and awesome programming, right? So go to garagegymathlete.com, check out the site. We have a lot of different ways to get involved in these things. It's hard to tell you how to do these things on a podcast. So really just visiting garagegymathlete.com, whether you are someone thinking about joining and you want to start a free trial or learn more about our methods, get involved with a fundraiser, submit your garage gym, just go do those things at garagegymathlete.com. Everybody who's a member of our community, thank you so much for being a part of the community. We really appreciate you. That's all we got for this week. Thanks for listening or watching. Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.